Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and I. My name is Lana Zielinski. I'm a psychic medium and a spiritual teacher. And I'm sharing today with you guys a little adventure that Spirit took me on. I always seem to land right where I need to when it comes to people. Spirit takes me on so many incredible little adventures, meeting people who are really struggling on their journey, people who are here on a very difficult journey. And it just fills my heart to be able to have those opportunities with Spirit and with living people. Now, I was out in a downtown core, just kind of shopping around and just kind of walking around, when all of a sudden in front of me waving is this woman and three little kids from the spirit dimensions. There were three children with their mom. And I'm like, oh, hello. And I knew at that very instant we were going to be doing some reading. What I didn't know was the profound impact of their story. Spirit asked me to follow them. So I did. And what felt like just kind of wandering through a downtown core, I found myself on the opposite side of the street of an empty storefront. And sat beneath the window of this storefront was this man with two backpacks filled with his prized possessions in life. His entire life put into two backpacks. So I have a wander over and I introduce myself to him, and he stands up quite guarded right away. And I explained to him that I wasn't there to evict him. I was just there to talk to him. And he was quite nervous and fearful, which saddened my heart. And I understand that he's probably had many experiences with people that have given him, reasons to fear. So I just kind of eased into it. And as I started chit-chatting with him, his wife started to show me a story. And what she showed me was many years prior, this man with a lovely family and a lovely home and a good job. And it was that time of year of family vacations where they packed up their three little kids and loaded up their camper trailer. And they had decided that summer that they were going to head across Canada. They had a wonderful vacation, but on the way home, there was a terrible accident. And the three children and his wife passed on scene. And he was the only survivor of that accident. And as I shared with him what his wife was showing me, there was just this, the best way I can describe it is like this moment in time that he went back to. He went back to that vacation. He went back to that moment. And he didn't question me at all. It was like he had this knowing. Now, his children and his wife were there showing me what happened next. And what happened next was, and fair enough. He couldn't cope. He couldn't cope with being the driver of the vehicle. Even though the accident was not his fault, he couldn't cope with such a horrendous loss. And he walked away from life, walked away from the rest of his immediate friends and family. He walked away from his job. He walked away from his home. And he'd been on the streets for 20 years. Now, I found it fascinating on how he wasn't startled or he didn't question anything. Because quite often people will question me. How do you know this? Is usually the first thing out of people's mouths. I asked him why he wasn't questioning me. And interestingly enough, he had the most amazing answer. He said his wife's favorite color was green. And when he was looking at me, he said my entire head from shoulder to shoulder had this green glow as I was speaking. He was seeing something similar to an aura. Now, green is a very healing color, amongst many healers. It's a color that represents healing. And he was fascinated by the fact that this color was surrounding me, and he simply knew that his wife was speaking through me. It was her. He said, I just know. There is no question. His family wanted him to know they were okay. Number one, right out of the gates, he needed to know that they were okay, and he needed to know that they were all together. They also have been helping him on his journey on the streets. They've been protecting him. They've been kind of guiding him. They've always kind of led him to where he needed to be safely. But they were also asking him to put down the pain now. They were giving him permission, and they've been trying to give him permission for a very long time. And as I spoke to him, his response was, I don't know how. I don't know how. He said, I don't know how to work anymore. I don't know how to speak to anybody. He's like, I barely even speak to people. And it was that moment that Spirit showed me how they view him. And I shared that with him, that he mattered, that his life was important, that his loved ones were with him. And as we had this conversation, I could literally feel him shift a little bit. The fact that he was loved was an incredible moment for him, and I just felt that to spend that many years not feeling that you're loved at all, it was big. It was a big, powerful moment, for him. And for me to feel as well. Like, it was just to be able to feel that, this poor soul on a very difficult journey spent that long not feeling loved or accounted for, or that he mattered. And then on top of, the loss, just on top of it all, and I had some incredible conversations with him. We spent some more time together, and we just kind of chit-chatted about his experiences, and and one thing he said kind of struck a chord. It was like I heard this chord go off in my heart. He struck this chord on how people perceive him. People make assumptions, people perceive, and it's it kind of brought me to a bit of an emotional space. Some people have really hard journeys, and some people struggle to overcome that. I go back to that space that I've said before, the words that I've said before. We're not here to judge. And how does Spirit see people? And what kind of journey is that person on? I know I've talked about that before, but these stories that I share, the moments that Spirit take me to these people that just need so much healing, I think they need to be heard. I think we need to recognize that. I have been back to that window in hoping to see him again, and I have not yet. His wife and his 3 little kids were absolutely magical in the messages that they gave him. And I think that you know, that's why I do what I do. That's why I've kind of stepped forward, and this is me, and this is spirit, and the love from the spirit dimensions is just so incredibly profound. Please know how much you are loved, how much you were guided and supported by, your people who have passed over. They're here, and they're helping, and they're guiding. I do hope that you enjoyed me sharing this story. It's one that I'm still kind of feeling in that heart of mine. It's we're all people, and we all have our story. And I am wishing you much love, light, blessings, and a spirit guided day.